to another installment of Metalhead Central, the show where I take an honest look at the harder side of music and give it an honest rating. Today, we're going to do a complete 180 from where we were last week, and go from the progressive side of metal to its thrash-laden, solo-filled side, and we're going to do it with a band that's been pumping albums out with consistent frequency since 1989. Yes, it's Canadian thrash legends Annihilator, and their new album Ballistic Sadistic, which came out January 24th via Silver Lining Music. This is their first album in 3 years. So, were they up to scratch? Let's find out. Straight from the get-go, you can tell that this album plays to the thrash formula very well. Hardline riffs backed by thumping bass with Jeff Waters wailing away somewhere between Tom Araya and James Hetfield. If you're looking for something groundbreaking, you might want to look somewhere else. But if you're looking for well-written thrash metal, then you've come to the right place. These veterans don't disappoint, blasting you in the face from the outset, and they don't really stop. The album has a nice flow to it, and no one track is allowed to exceed its little spot on the record. It's as if they've created these small craters for them to kind of nuzzle down in and then explode out the minute you hit the play button. That allows the listener to truly dig into the meat of the album and appreciate it for what it is, a very solid thrash album. Speaking of meat, this album has a lot of it. The riffs feel thick and almost processed in a sense. That might be one of its weaknesses in that it truly does feel as if you're listening to the same song over and over again. They're good songs, but they all feel born of the exact same chords that bands that have come before have also used over and over again. I know there aren't an infinite number of riffs, but I would like to have heard just a little more variety. That being said, the inherent catchiness of each song does help with that. The structural work on here is very well done, with Waters' growl taking the listener from verse to chorus in true thrash metal style. Nothing on here seems to have been adjusted to sound cleaner than it needs to be. The riffs sound crunchy without being overbearing, and the drumming is very serviceable for a thrash album. In other words, it doesn't sound like a boatload of time was taken through the post-production process to sort of tighten things up. It's very raw, yet also very accessible. But again, this sounds kind of like Slayer light. I mean, I've heard all this before, and I've heard it done better, frankly. If you compared this album to one of Slayer's classics, like Rain and Blood, Hell Awaits, or Seasons in the Abyss, there's really no comparison. Slayer might have been a bit quicker, and Annihilator sounds just a tad more produced, but other than that, they sound almost identical. The difference is that Slayer knew how to write a slower song, and these guys just pound you from track 1 through track 10. Again, I bring up the lack of variety on the album, which harms it in the end. It's not that any song is objectively terrible, it's just that they all just sound the same. It's a very repetitive album. I'm going to go ahead and give this one an 89 out of 100. It's well written and well produced, with enough shine on it to keep it out of the territory of the dirty and ugly, but enough rawness and frank musical violence to keep it away from mainstream radio. It's got very catchy songs, nicely written lyrics, Jeff Waters sounds solid on here, and the guitar work is very well done. The solos are well placed within the songs, and again, the drumming is fine for a thrash album. The issue is that all of the songs have the same nucleus, and I'd like to hear a little more variety. Yeah, I get it's a thrash album, but the best thrash albums have a good sense of musicality and know enough to stray away from the almighty riff every once in a while. This album would have benefited from that. Otherwise, it's a fun listen. Thank you so much for watching. Click like, subscribe for more Metalhead Central and other content. Next week, we're going to be heading into more symphonic territory and examining Amberian Dawn's new album, Looking for You. I hope you'll join me. You've been watching Metalhead Central, where I give honest ratings to honest music, and I'll see y'all next time.